And I thought it's probably normal for my age because I'm a teenager, do you know what I mean? So
when you're relapsing, you're reinforcing those addicted neural pathways, and it's just pushing you further and further into the addiction.
Like making jokes, but I think it's a serious problem, man, because very much of young people watch it, and it's becoming more and more of a problem.
And the #1 site had traffic of 42 billion viewers.
Entire planet times
No
7.
way.
Yeah, dude, super rusty here.
No problem.
Yeah, no need to tell, bro, because fresh in the game.
One single.
Nice.
Single dead. Double. Хорош, bro. I don't know Russian that well. A single. Sad. Mesut Komiser from Turkish series. Something. Oh, he's 25. High flash, second flash. No way.
Yeah, let's try.
Seps balcony. Nice one.
Oh my god. We were destined to lose that one, bro.
GG. Right side. One. No. 80 damage. Are you watching?
I'm watching him.
Bombs down, bro. No chance for me. Oh! Let's go.
No chance, buddy.
Never say never. Embrace the pain, right?
Exactly.
They smoked here. They planting. Up planting.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh. Hell no. I'm out. If I jump, I'll make a noise, right?
Yeah.
Dantare style.
See, bro, my role is just to assist, apparently.
Oh, nice try. Nice try. Oh. What?
Yeah, he had a good spot there. I didn't
Bro,
see
I
him.
can't see.
I didn't see him.
Laptops.
One pit.
Okay, I'm coming for you.
Two pit. We need it.
Oh no. Nice. Nice try.
That was my time to shine.
You hear anything?
Nope.
They're playing
Well done.
slow. Nice.
So yeah, brother, like this got released like a month ago, I think. Knowing you have daytime TV. I'm not sure if this is daytime TV really, but it's sort of that style, right? Like what you gotta understand about this guy, right? He has the typical story of a guy that grew up in the UK, going through their teenage years. They've engaged in porn, and like his story is like very similar, I would say, to guys right now who are like, I'd say late 20s, early 30s, but I don't doubt that the age can go lower or higher than that, but it's all circumstances. But this is like the typical experience of a guy that grew up in UK with porn addiction.
He's bravely opening up about an addiction which has controlled much of his life.
Since first viewing sexual content at just old, Ben Leonard struggled with a porn addiction for over a decade. He joins us now alongside psychotherapist Kathleen Saxton. Good morning to you both.
Morning.
Very nice to meet you. So this all started when you were about 11 and you were just watching a regular movie, essentially.
yeah, so it started at a very, very young age, and
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was 13, yeah.
Yeah, it's, I mean, people get used to it from the young ages, I know.
I kind of like came across a movie that had quite explicit stuff on it, not fully, and it kind of gave me that craving to like, I want to see more of this. And then I became into porn.
Right.
And I was,
But Ben, that's quite a leap. I mean, you're 11 years old and you're watching a film that has a graphic sex scene or adult content in it, albeit appropriate for whatever it's not going to be hardcore, is it, at that point? When did it become something more than that? And when did your curiosity to see more of this become something more like a dependence?
it happened very shortly after.
This is exactly sort of what happened to me. I felt that like enticement after that first time watching it, because I got exposed to like hardcore porn. Shortly after it, I was just craving even more and more and more.
I want to ask, like, what did you exactly feel, bro? Like dopamine rush, something like that?
Yeah, the thing is, brother, it's funny because when I look at it, when I look at the scene, you feel a bit sick, you feel a bit like disgusted, but at the same time, there's just crazy high that you get from it at the same time. So it's super interesting. But
like-
this, yeah,
You're saying like the first time, right?
First
When
time,
you
bro.
first find out the, yeah. I mean, I remember from myself, my experience was similar to yours, bro. I feel really disgust. Like, I just, I was trying to make understanding from what I just seen, and I mean, it affected me pretty bad from the starting, but after some time, yeah, I was just kind of want to watch that.
what happens is I described it before, like on one of the podcasts. I was saying that when I felt that sort of moment of pleasure, because it is pleasurable at the same time, but it's kind of like a shock value. But once you feel that, there's a big sort of light up signal in your brain to thinking, I just want more. That's exactly what happened to me.
Like, I'd probably say like a couple months after watching the
really?
movie. And I was like, I really want to see more of this. And then I came across porn online. And I was like, oh, don't mind if I diddly do. So I had a little like cheeky little look at it, and then yeah, just kind of stuck with me ever since. And I thought it's probably normal for my age because I'm a teenager. Do you know what I mean? So.
And at that specific age, how easy was it for you to get hold of?
I mean, you know, back then it was very easy
Right.
because everyone will send you stuff. Everything's easy to access online.
Yeah.
I think like nowadays it's a bit more complicated than that, which I'll get into a bit later. But yeah, no, it was just so much easier back then, you know.
You've said by the time you were 16, you were watching daily. Did you talk to your mates about it? Were you sharing some of this stuff with them? What was their sort of take on their watching of porn?
Yeah, I mean,
My
I
classmates
kind of had to
used to
hide
share.
it, the fact from...
Did you ever send anything through Bluetooth?
No, I was more able to see it online
Yeah.
rather than using
Yeah,
Bluetooth.
because the thing is, when you're in like a school environment, you're getting sent all these files over Bluetooth, right? And then when you have,
Oh.
I don't know, Wi-Fi and actual porn sites that you could access, the whole thing kind of changed. It definitely changed for me when it came to like high-speed internet sites, right?
that I was addicted to it. I mean, it was kind of like a lot of banter that I had with my mates, you know, and it kind of the fact that I was just compressing what was actually wrong with it, you know.
But you knew you had to hide it. You knew that your desire to see more of it wasn't normal.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I lost my virginity at the age of 16, and I then began to find more and more sexual partners, and that was obviously influenced from porn.
Yeah,
So-
because I was going to ask you, how did it then, because obviously 11 is very young, and then it kind of it accelerated really quickly from
Really
what you
quickly, yeah.
said. So then how does then that affect your relationships that you go on to have?
Yeah, I mean, when I was
Can I
obviously
add my-
16, I was single, and
Opinion on this? So, bro, basically, when I first find out about the porn and stuff, I was, I think, around 14 years old,
Yeah.
and which was really a bad experience for me because I remember feeling really bad. I mean, I don't know how to explain, but I was always in a bad mood. I was feeling disgust and also being shameful because of what I've seen. And also, I think that affected my relationship with people. Like, because after some time you stare at people and you think like different ways,
Yeah.
which I don't know, like that.
Do you feel like you got anxious around people?
Yeah, definitely social anxiety.
Yeah, that makes sense because you have like the shame, the guilt, and like the sort of wanting and not wanting to watch porn at the same time kind of thing. It just kind of confuses you. It kind of makes you sort of second guess like a lot of stuff that you're doing. It's so expected. What you just described is exactly what I felt, man.
I mean, you're kind of objecting girls or women around you after some time,
Yeah,
and
sure.
which is really bad thing.
Is pornography normal? Is it normal where you are?
I mean, I don't know if it's normal, but
Yeah.
I could say it's really common, and I mean, it can be discussed pretty much, bro. So common. I mean, the bad part is uh, between the male young groups, it's used as humor
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
like making jokes. But I think it's a serious problem, man, because very much of young people watch it, and it's becoming more and more of a problem.
I could agree when they say it's an epidemic. What I try to sort of get across is it's important to just keep the strength in your hands, right? You don't need to concede that you're helpless over this problem. But when you're in that addiction, it can be quite difficult to see that. And so, yeah, like it's one of those.
So even though if you want to quit watching it and doing it, it's really hard for you because people around you always talking about it, using it as a way of humor, but they always trying to remind you of that, and it makes harder to quit, which is another thing.
So when you're talking about it or you're around it, for
Yeah.
example, those urges come up to the surface, right?
Yeah.
Like
People
what-
keep reminding you that.
Do sexual stuff. And
Yeah.
at that age, I was kind of loving it because it was like a pick a mix. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, I guess after that, it kind of put a barrier there when I started dating and things like that. And I guess where I compare myself a lot to porn, it kind of doubted my relationships, thinking I won't be.
Did it give you unrealistic expectations of what to
Absolutely.
expect in a sexual relationship?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, porn is nothing like reality, you know. You go in there with a head thinking, you know, this is going to be me. And then you're worried that you're going to disappoint your partner.
Your need and
Also body
urge
shaming.
to
See people with great shape.
Yeah, it's not just people in great shape, it's also what I've heard from being in
Also
other.
the size.
Exactly, and it's real because going on like other,
Yeah, bro.
before like I
Real confidence killer.
exactly before I joined BCA, right? I
Yeah.
was on like a few other kind of discovery calls, searching for coaches, right? And one of the coaches that I got in contact with, he was super cool. He was describing how like a lot of the clients that he takes on, they just think that they just keep comparing their size to like the male talent in these films. And so they think, well, if I'm not like that, she's not going to be happy or anything. And it's so distorted,
Yeah.
bro. What do you think? Do you think that women sexualize men more because of porn?
Because I can't think as a woman,
Yeah.
but I know that men sexualize women, or this way, I could say.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I have no comment for women's side, bro. I don't know.
watch porn and consume porn led to quite an embarrassing occasion at your mate's house, didn't it?
I've had many of them. Yeah, I mean, there was a time where, you know, I thought, you know, I might
know
snip.
that I've had these moments, but I just want to say, you know, with this guy as well, like he's going on this TV show, and normally, you know, these TV shows, they can be quite the nature of some of these shows, they can be sort of, can have like an agenda attached to them to make the person they're interviewing feel a bit sort of uncomfortable. But this guy's just running it out like a freaking boss. It's freaking outstanding, I gotta say. Yeah.
Often have a bit of
Props to
self
him, man.
Trust me, watch this.
romance, and then
Because you're with a load of your mates at their house.
yeah, and I literally was halfway through it, and I was like, I've just clocked there's no sound, and I was like, oh no, it's connected to the Bluetooth, innit?
So the sound was actually being broadcast into the living room.
Yeah. And then I was like, oh no, because I heard my name being
no.
shouted. And then when I walked out, I was like, you disturbed my story, so I'm not even sorry. So
So you just dialed it out.
yeah, I style everything out because like humour's kind of how I cover everything up. You know what I mean?
question for you. Did you ever talk to your family about sex, or what was your sex education like at school? Or did the porn basically kind of form your expectations and what you thought real life was all about?
Yeah, I mean, in school, I didn't really ask questions that I wanted to know because I felt too embarrassed in front of my classmates. And I guess from a young age, I never really felt confident enough to speak to my family about it because I thought it was just weird. Do you know what I mean? And it's something I've always kept to myself, and I just let the problem grow and grow and grow. I mean, I think in this generation, kids are young, so they're introduced to tablets, phones. I mean, when I was their age, I was building dens in the woods and eating mud.
He said he finds it weird and he didn't have the confidence to do it. And I also agree with him. And what do you think?
Yeah, I would find it uneasy as well. I did have the conversation with my family, of course, and it was okay. But I think when he was talking about sex ed in school, I think I wasn't there for some of these sessions, right? And so I don't think I got the memo, if there was a memo on that. I never heard my teachers talk about porn like that, right?
Yeah, and nor ours, bro. We don't see sexual education. I think it's, I mean, it needs to be done, bro,
Yeah,
because it's an important thing. There are very sexual conditions can happen. You need to be responsible what you're doing, man.
you do have to, even when you're in that
Then,
compulsive state. You need to,
yeah, and
as long as you
also for
understand the consequences of your actions.
not only for porn, but also for sex, because horrible consequences can come out.
Yes, no doubt.
I don't know what they teach now. I mean, they could be teaching reality, but they might not. I don't know, but I think it's very, very good to put that across.
Yeah, I think sex education has changed significantly in sort of the last 15, 20 years. That's for sure, through my experience of watching and understanding what my boys have experienced at 18 and 20. And it's absolutely vital. How bad did it get, Ben? And when did you realise you needed to do something about it?
See, the thing is, through school, I've always had self-doubt. I've always thought, oh, I'm not good enough. I was never getting anything in classes. I was always being the class clown. I always felt this urge of loneliness and self-hatred, and I've never felt good enough. And I've always, all my life, I've had low self-esteem. And it was only the most recent years it got really bad. I felt like for the past, God knows how many years since I was in school, I've felt like I've been thrown in a dark room and just trapped there for years and years and years. And
I think, bro, the main reason of watching porn might be the loneliness, because when people feel lonely, they just need something to hold on to, and I think young men usually go for it, use it as porn, and which is more and more damaging you, because it's not gonna solve your loneliness, and it's gonna make you even worse socially and also mentally. You're always gonna feel not enough.
Yeah,
So
brother,
that's the
spot
main
on.
reason, I think.
Brother, spot on, honestly. The main thing that actually keeps the loneliness going when you're...
Also boredom. People need to keep themselves busy, bro. Like going to gym, maybe going on nature, studying maybe, or socializing in general instead of doing these things, because you're only damaging your brain, man.
That's so profound that you said that. In the ideal world, I think, you would be able to sort of jump on a different activity to, busy your life, keep yourself out of the environment of porn, right? Obviously, what I discovered this year was that you don't actually need a reason to engage. So, if you were feeling lonely, there could be a period in your life when you're a teenager where that loneliness contributed to, the behavior of a porn habit, right? And also boredom, no doubt about it, because when you're in the moment, pornography can, feel really fun. It can get you out of reality. One of the key lessons I learned this year was understanding that you do not need a reason to engage. If you have an addiction, if you have addicted neural pathways, those pathways will just invoke over and over and over again, get the urge going, have the mind sort of wired towards making up thoughts which lead you to a situation in where choosing to watch porn in that moment is very compelling. Whatever factors are contributing to that are contributing to it. But when it comes to the addiction itself, it's literally just engaging in the behavior that's actually keeping the addiction alive.
Being able to sit here, you know, and talk about this openly to the public as well. And obviously I didn't realise until last year when I finished filming a documentary with the BBC that I got diagnosed with ADHD. So that kind of made me wake up, and I was like, wow, like that's just answered my whole life that I sat in darkness with, because the sex stuff I kind of put aside and I never really spoke about it openly. And everything else, like I was having so much therapy, and I think nowadays I'm trying to navigate like therapy and the sex kind of side of things and the addiction. I do want to get a therapist, but things like that take time.
Yeah.
And it was only, I think, this year that the government stopped the porn websites. And
in July, they put the age restrictions on.
it was
Yeah.
July. The other side of things is that I was in a group chat with thousands of content, and it was kind of a hard moment for me because I changed my number. So I kind of went cold turkey on everything, and then I kind of like started replacing everything with hobbies. You know, like I'll take my car for a drive, listen to a bit of...
Personally, I can relate with this guy because I've experienced many of the things he talked about.
Yeah.
And I think most of the men is going through this stuff.
I agree.
I mean, of course, if you could get some psychological support, go ahead and try it. If you can't go through on your own.
Yeah.
But I think it also builds character and makes you better in life because how hard the situation is you're going through, you're gonna get stronger.
Generally, a lot of the life situations that you can go through, especially with an addiction, there's a lot to learn from it, right? And so sometimes there's a situation where you learn what works, what doesn't work. What I can say for sure is that you know, if you're in a porn addiction and you're constantly relapsing, and you're in that mentality of there's something to learn from this relapse, I have understood that that really isn't a good sort of motto to live by, and I think everyone, you know, in BCA would also kind of agree with that. When you're relapsing, you're reinforcing those addicted neural pathways, and it's just pushing you further and further into the addiction. And so the question then becomes, how do I stop effectively? Because this guy, he mentioned therapy, he mentioned AA meetings, and these things can be useful, but if there's not that sort of core mechanism, which is changing addicted neural pathways, you sort of experience a complicated situation where you're trying to figure out why things aren't working, especially if you're in therapy and you keep on relapsing, or if you go to AA meetings and you keep on relapsing. It can be very confusing. But it's down to the strategy at the end of the day and the treatment method.
So, but yeah, there's many things like you can do to fill that gap while you're seeking the help. Or, you know, for me, it's the hardest part is trying to find the right help.
Just to mention here, that was me. Like, I was just trying to fill my time with all sorts of different activities while I was finding help. I think genuinely, that's the kind of mental space I was in for a long time. You know, when like I first met you.
It's been 2.5 years, right?
This is the thing, brother. Like, you had no idea that I was in that addiction. When you have addicted neural pathways, it can feel deeply embedded and sort of ever present within you, and that's why it's really difficult.
I've seen an information online saying that it's healthier for men to do once a week only masturbation. So what do you think about that information?
Is it like, did they mention the prostate situation, like have a healthy prostate where you can release often?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't buy that right now. If data backs it up, then sure, I can back that, but I'm not convinced. How about yourself? Do you buy it?
I mean, it's a good choice for men with the high desire to do that thing. I mean, limiting yourself once a week. So keeping that under control, it's a good thing. But I mean, if the body needs to unload you, it'll be on your while you're sleeping.
We call it we call it wet dream or nocturnal emission. But
yeah,
people call it wet dream.
Right.
Yeah, I've been to them before, for other reasons, but they do help.
Yeah.
They really do.
Kathleen, specifically with this kind of addiction, groups really do help. Addiction is incredibly isolating in comparison to other addictions.
That's right. It's really isolating because there's the additional sort of layer of shame that's associated with the sexual content to some degree.
This lady finally attended to talking.
She nailed it. Like, this is exactly what a guy feels.
Can you get it? Can you get it a little back? I couldn't get the point.
It's often a singular activity that you're doing, unlike other addictions that you might do as a group, let's say. So I think there's something about that. And Ben, I absolutely applaud you for coming on and doing the documentaries as well that you've done, because it is much more rife than we care to want to believe. Just over 10% of men in the UK will say that they feel that they are addicted to pornography in some form. And I think that we're not willing yet, I think even as parents, to get comfortable with statistics around how early, as it happened for you, Ben, that children are getting exposed to this level of content.
It's also uncomfortable for parents, no doubt. Don't get me wrong, there's people our parents' age, for example, as well, who engage in porn.
Happening. I think what happened in July with the change in the law has had a huge effect. I mean, traffic to these sites is down significantly because of it. And I think there's something about consciously putting your ID or your credit card details into a computer, I think, is making people take reflection of how comfortable am I really to admit to myself, never mind others, that this is becoming a bit of an issue.
Do you have that in your country? Do you have like an adult blocker that comes up when you try to access porn?
You know the Pornhub, the most popular?
Yeah.
It's blocked. You can't go without a VPN.
I got you. But VPN, you get around it, right?
Yeah. Many people use it.
Also in this country, this year, the pornography ban. I want to say pornography ban, sorry. The policy, a new government policy came in around the summer where, in order to have more protection over, young people, etc. I've seen that. It's banned in France as well. Like 15 years old, something that was going like that. They're just like kind of blocking these sites right now. Like we just said, it's solvable via a VPN. Right, and so it's not really, you can't really enforce that, which is why when this lady rightfully says, I'm sure that the data on the traffic would surely show that dip in visits, like it makes sense, but I would also want to ask for like the VPN data.
And so I think, and the ADHD element to it as well, Ben, is the extra layer, because activity for busy brains, activity for loneliness, isolation, boredom, low self-esteem, we go and find other things to self-medicate with, and pornography is one of those things. It could be alcohol, it could be work addiction, it could be other things. But I think pornography was so easy to access.
You know when they say self-medicate? We were talking about earlier that people use porn to overcome their feeling of loneliness or stress, right?
Quick pleasure.
Yeah, exactly. But she mentions here that it's self-medicating, but then we also know that people in general might not have these issues or don't experience these issues. They might just enjoy watching pornography because it's just like, okay, that's a great scene. I just want to watch more of this scene, right, in pornography. So it can just be something that you enjoy. But again, this goes back to the point, you don't need a reason to engage. Sometimes it's just like the addiction, just wanting more of the porn. And it's not really related to anything that maybe happened in your past, a trauma or a feeling in the emotion, right? Because a lot of the times you're not thinking about your loneliness in some of these moments. You might be, you might be not.
I get you.
Because the biggest thing in your mind right in that moment is, I want to watch that woman in that scene doing this, right? That aesthetic thing.
4 million internet sites offering pornography.
4 million.
Wow.
And the number one site had traffic of 42 billion viewers.
Crazy number.
It's how many times the world population? Entire planet times 7. It's got out of hand.
In the last year alone, just one site. So it shows you the magnitude.
It's an incredibly lucrative industry for those people, so it's not going to be in their interest to try and make this harder to get at, which is why the age restrictions has had an impact, although, of course, people will argue that there's ways around it.
Yeah.
When does an interest in adult content become an addiction?
So for the addiction side of it, everybody's levelling can be different. Some may have the occasional view for laughs, and that's up for them. I think it's when we start to feel there's a compulsive element to our behaviour.
Perfect. This is exactly the language we're looking for.
So the impulse turns to a compulsiveness.
Yeah, I heard
If you
from your
find
channel.
yourself becoming irritated that you can't get access to, or you decide that you're not going to go out because you'd rather stay at home and access the content. So I think in ourselves, we know when it's starting to tip into a different space, and that's when to consider that the issues with it. Now, for children, it's tricky because the social media platforms, I sit on the board of NSPCC, we lobby all the time for the social platforms to take action, because whether it's Twitter or Snap, etc., you can access a lot of this content if you are looking for it, despite your age. A lot of children are working using VPNs. They're finding other ways to access this site outside of using the ID. So children are smart and bright and resourceful, and we want them to be.
Savvy.
I thought a lot of the porn access that I sort of experienced in my later years was sort of, a lot of it was through like Twitter, social media. This definitely makes the access to porn a lot more easier, and you don't. And it's not blocked via a VPN on a social media site per se. There might be a few age restrictions like Twitter has, but apart from that, man, it's pretty freaking open season. It's important to note that when she was saying about you have the occasional watcher and then you have someone that has a very compulsive pattern of behavior with porn, and I think it's important to make the distinction that when you have addicted neural pathways, there's a variance in perhaps the degree of how reinforced that neural pathway has become, depending on like the patterns and the porn use and everything like that. But with me, for example, obviously that addicted neural pathways became very strong, and the porn use with me was like very compulsive, right? So it was hard for me to stop. I knew that engaging in porn gives me negative consequences, and despite that I kept on engaging in it. Click on the link in the description to take you to the addiction quiz. From the results, you'll know whether you have a compulsive behaviour with porn or not. You don't have to opt in for further interest in BCA, and we'll just send you over the test results to your email.